Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up trans rights. The Supreme Court confuses LGBTQ community with anti-trans, pro-religion suit that they chose not to hear. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear a case challenging Wisconsin's Eau Claire area school district's gender-affirming policy. The policy allows transgender, non-binary, and gender-nonconforming students to use chosen names, pronouns, and restrooms matching their gender identity without parental consent. Parents protecting our children argued the policy infringes on parental rights and religious beliefs, asserting there are only two sexes. However, lower courts dismissed the suit, citing no demonstrated harm. This Supreme Court decision follows the recent court hearing of a case challenging Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth. In this case, the conservative justices from the Supreme Court appeared inclined to uphold the ban. LGBTQ activists say they are confused. Either trans rights matter to the Supreme Court or not. Listen, if we wanted to go and dive deep into the Supreme Court and their and all of their
shenanigans.
Yeah,
that's a good word, Dr. Bobby.
Yeah, and discrepancies on what their beliefs are, we would have to go a lot longer in this show today. I think we're going to see more of these cases come around. This parental rights thing is not going to stop, I fear. And I think it's also a challenge for our community to find a way to pivot, what parental rights are, because again, I think the other side got the upper hand on, if you just use it as a topic and say parental rights, people are very affirming of that. And that makes sense. I'm a parent.
I was going to say, as a parent,
rights.
I'm assuming you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I also want my child to be able to read the book that I think that they should read. And I want my child to be able to talk about that they have a gay parent in school and not have that restricted. So again, parental rights do mean something, but again,
it's case sensitive.
Exactly.
Case by case, and it's not black and white.
That's actually the far right strategy. Like the ACLU and the National LGBT Task Force have talked about this for years, that the strategy of the Alliance Defending Freedom and the far right with this is to specifically do these little cases.
Case by case, right.
To get to the point, their ultimate goal is to actually get rid of all non-discrimination laws. So this actually doesn't just affect LGBTQ people, it affects everyone. And this court's actions, not just on this, but on everything, affect everyone. Like, we're really watching the rule of law unravel before our eyes, and I really have no idea what our future holds.
Yeah, and I don't know why the Supreme Court chose not to take up this case. Maybe they felt like we addressed this already, we're not going to hear it again.
I have a theory on that.
And there might be more important issues that, which would be a happy consequence if they said there are more important issues that this country needs to deal with.
Refreshing.
And we're not going to take this up because we've addressed it. And no, I mean, I'm hoping.
We can't assume logic with this.
No, we can't. Absolutely.
But I think there's actually a logic behind it, because these Ku Klux Karens, as I would call them.
Oh God, Ku Klux Karens. Big word there.
Yeah.
Term there.
These people actually, cannot. I mean, the court is right. The lower courts are right. They cannot demonstrate what kind of material harm.
Yeah, there's no harm done.
Yeah, the problem is with the Kansas one is that legislature made the law. So the SCOTUS is more likely to defer to state legislature because they are all crazy about state rights these days.
Right.
But even if the state legislature in question suppresses a minority's human rights, conservative justices are more likely to argue that then they need to go through the legislation to fix the problems, which is just impossible because it's the tyranny of the majority.
Right.
You have a majority who hates you, and therefore they would never support you.
And it's not the majority. I think it's the vocal, connected people in the far right who've done a really good job in strategizing how to get their folks in power, and it's resulting in challenges for the LGBT community, challenges for people of color, challenges for immigrants. I mean, across the board.
Right. But never account of voter apathy. These voters know where they stand on trans rights, on black and brown rights, on immigrants' rights. They hold their nose and vote for the conservative candidate anyway because they can get a tax cut.
I think we're being a little too harsh on the words because one, the Supreme Court isn't elected. We don't even know when a particular Supreme Court justice will retire.
Right.
But on the majority, I do think the Supreme Court will start striking down blue state laws soon. They're very much on their way, so they have no regard.
Yeah, I don't think they're holding back for
They don't
anything.
care
I don't
what
think they're
people
holding back
think.
for
Yeah.
anything.
No.
Right. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. I'm sure we'll keep following that one. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.